Now, from the 5th floor Cumulus Studios in downtown Dallas, it's time for Inside Real Estate. Here's your host, Michael Kruizinga.
Good morning, Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Welcome to Inside Real Estate. Mike Kruizinga here, your host and your local Dallas-Fort Worth area realtor. And hey, all our equipment is working today. Sweet, thank you. The big guy on the other side, thank you very much. I know I gave you some crap last week, but I appreciate it.
It's all cool, man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking care of us. We're good today. And happy to be back. We're live every Sunday morning, 8 to 9 a.m. Hey, website, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. You can connect with myself if you're interested in real estate, buying, selling, investing. You can catch up with me there. You can download our app, DFW Metroplex Real Estate, in your smarty phone. Then you can connect, of course, to all of our partners here at the show. And if you want to be a part of the show, well, you want to be one of our resident experts on the show, well, you can give me a shout about that. Also, so we're going to do some headlines this morning, kind of talk about the latest, greatest, what's going on out there, and then we're going to get into some real estate talk, some insurance talk. We got Terry Wagner here on the show, live in studio, and Richard Tonica over at Goosehead Insurance. He's here in studio as well, so we're going to chat with him. Randy Addington was going to be here today, our Hydrojet walk-in tub partner. He couldn't make it today, unfortunately, but we're going to talk a little bit about that product a little bit later on anyway. And so anyway, that's the show today. We got some good stuff for you. Hey, if you do want to ask us some questions about real estate, insurance, or mortgage, give us a shout. 888-787-KLIF. If you're parents out there and you got kids that are planning to purchase here sometime soon, you want to ask some questions about them. We've had a lot of questions about, should my kids buy with those heavy student loans that they still have? Well, that's a great question. You want to talk about that. We've had those questions before. It came up a few times this week, and give us a call. We'll talk about it on air, and then we'll get you taken care of. Let's get into, I'll tell you what, let's get into a little bit of headlines right quick before we get into all the real estate talk. And, we started off the week with a few more officers that, lost their lives over in Baton Rouge next door. And another sad event, 3 of them and 2 wounded. And the gentleman who did the shooting, they thought maybe there was multiple shooters again, and there were a couple other suspects brought in, and they say that there's just the one shooter, but he was from Missouri, 29-year-old ex-Marine, and he had gone in to the VA for some mental, issues quite a bit before this occurred, and so just an unfortunate story again, and hopefully we don't continue to see more of this, but it's getting a little bit scary out there. Some of the police departments have decided to, quit letting the officers patrol solo, that they've gone to tandems in some areas. Some counties they are, some they are not. And in some cases, some police chiefs are saying, no, we're letting our officers continue to patrol solo because we think that putting 2 in a car puts 2 targets in a car versus just the one. So a little bit of a difference in management styles between the different law enforcement agencies, but a little bit scary out there. And so, support your guys and gals in blue out there, and they have a tough job. And when they pull you over, cooperate. Just cooperate. They want to get on with their lives, and you want to get on with yours. And hopefully we're not going to see any more of this. These cop shootings, that would be nice. What else is going on? Roger Ailes has resigned over at Fox News. He was there for about 20 years and kind of built Fox News, up from the ground up. Pretty amazing story with him, but there was potential sexual allegations against Gretchen Carlson, who had already been let go, by the way. And so this came out after she was let go, and they say she was let go because she had poor ratings. and that was just the bottom line. But then Megyn Kelly also chimed in and said that she also had been harassed by Ailes about a decade ago as well, but those details not quite out yet. So, Ailes was a media consultant in the past for Republican presidents Richard Nixon, Ronald Reagan, and George H.W. Bush, very interestingly. But Rupert Murdoch's going to be taking over everything directly to some degree. But his sons, James and Lachlan, who are in leadership roles with 21st Century, James did not like Ailes at all. And so within the organization, there's a lot being said that James was really spearheading getting rid of Ailes, who was 76 years old, by the way. And so very interesting that there's some potential inside fighting within the Murdoch family, and the two sons, jockeying for position there, it looks like. What else is going on? Hey, how about a little bit of sports? Man, it's really slow with sports. It really is. All I could find, honestly, was Drew Brees, and the Saints haven't knocked out his contract extension, and they haven't talked about it in 3 months. So I thought, well, let's just talk about that. That's all there really is in sports.
You don't want to talk about Tim Duncan Day?
No. I love Tim Duncan, though. I really do. Hey, any guy who's a stand-up athlete in today's sports world, hey, he's got my vote. Not to mention he's got all the numbers and the rings, and just a classy stand-up guy. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm good with that. Well, anyway, on Drew Brees, okay, they made him an offer in March. He made a counter offer, and then they haven't talked to him since then. He's saying, okay, because they're about to start training camp. He's like, okay, the deadline was probably more the regular season instead of training camp. But he's in the final season of the 5-year, $100 million deal, and they'd go $30 million against the salary cap. Looking at his career, I was like, you know what, let's just recap his numbers. He's done pretty darn well. He had a $37 million signing bonus on the current contract, 5 years, $100 million. And his previous contracts weren't anything to sneeze at either. 06 to 11, 6 years, $60 million. He's done pretty well, but stats. Let's go to the stats. Okay, last year, 32 TDs, 4,800 and change yards, 101 rating. Okay, I went back in time here. He has not been below 4,000 yards since 05. Okay. 4,870 yards, 4,952 yards, 5,162, 5,177, 5,400 and change. All of these are over 4,000, 5,000 yards every single year since 06. His touchdowns are ridiculous, 30 plus, sometimes 40 plus. His rating, it's usually 100 plus. He was 110 rating in 2011. His picks were a little high last year, the year before. He knocked him down last year to 11.
Is that mostly because of his receiving core isn't as good as it used to be?
Yeah,
I would think.
But I mean, look, this guy. I mean, he's just, and you know this. I mean, he's always 300 yards a game or better. But he is 37 years old, so there's a little bit of a disconnect between how long they want to keep him, extend the contract, and what he's wanting, and of course what he's wanting guaranteed. But I mean,
it's that Bill Walsh philosophy of get rid of them a season too early than a season too late.
True. So, I wonder if we'll see Drew Brees go somewhere else, maybe in a year or two. Be interesting to see. 37 years old, yeah, that 1 year, 2 years, about where he needs to be. That's
what I would think.
But at 37, I mean, he is not, almost 5,000 yards, 32 touchdowns. I mean, he has not diminished at all. And for a 6 foot quarterback, these are amazing stats too.
Yeah, but it's like a running back. I mean, once their productivity starts to decline, that's it. I mean, it's downhill, and it's downhill quick.
True. Yeah, very true. That's why he wants to get that contract extension now. But he's made a heck of a lot of money over his career. I mean, he's done really well. I'm not sure who his agent is. Who's his agent, Sam? Do we know? We'll see if we can find that out. But he's done pretty well for Drew. But Drew's produced. I mean, and he's a zero drama player, which is nice to see, and that's pretty rare. Seems to be pretty active, in the community and pretty well liked there locally. So from Austin, if you didn't remember, from Texas. Okay, well, that's Slim in sports. What else we got? We didn't talk about the convention, the RNC convention, really much at all. I'll just run through some highlights. Over the last week or so, Mike Pence was the VP choice. Yeah, we all know that. This was interesting. Peter Thiel, entrepreneur, co-founder of PayPal, had a pretty big announcement. He said at the convention, "I am proud." This is a quote: "I am proud to be Republican. Most of all, proud to be American." And he said he's proud to be gay. This was all quote. And but he had some interesting things to say. He said, Republicans should stop focusing on the social issues, and it's just a real distraction. He said we need to get out of all these wars and focus on here at home and rebuilding here at home. He said Capitol Hill was broken. And he said our government is so far behind Silicon Valley, it's pretty much ridiculous. He says our nuclear bases are still using floppy disks. He said we don't need to see Hillary's deleted emails. Her competence is in plain sight. So just kind of shooting from the hip, had some great fun things to say. Kind of mixing social issues with, just some serious issues as well. Still using floppy disks on our nuclear bases. Yes, well, that should probably be fixed, shouldn't it? But we do need to keep those things safe and offline. So
yes.
Who's to say? But he had some good things to say. Of course, getting out of the wars and not focusing on social issues. I'm not sure if he understands the Republican Party. That's a huge part of it. Although he's probably right. That Republican Party needs to focus on a number of other things that, when the ship has sailed on some things, you maybe just let the ship sail. You know what I mean?
Yes, but I mean, at one point, when do you give up those fights?
That's a good point.
And it's not just the social issues. It's not just Congress. Or the Republican Party or the Democrat Party. It's coming in, and why is Congress involved in sports and all this other stuff? I mean, to me, they get into so many different aspects of things that they're wasting their time on rather than really tackling issues.
Yeah, I mean, well, it seems like between the politicians and the media, they keep us so distracted on random nonsense that doesn't even really matter, and that is a strategy. We know this, and but we take it hook, line, and sinker every single time, and get away from what really needs to be dealt with. But our infrastructure needs some serious help, and we've been told that by politician after politician that's going to be taken care of, and it's not. And then we send aid overseas, and by the hundreds of millions and billions, our dollars just go in and go right out overseas to places we don't even know, and that is frustrating. So the whole system is frustrating for sure. Kasich, there was a lot of unhappy folks that Kasich wasn't showing up at the convention, particularly since it's his home state and governor of. And but there was a story by the New York Times. It was kind of a loose story, so it didn't have a lot of hard facts, hard sources in it. But it was said that Trump actually offered the VP spot to Kasich behind the scenes. Said Trump Jr. actually went to offer it to him. Now the Trump campaign is not coming in and saying yes, that's the case at all. But somebody anonymously said that was the case on both sides. So interesting little tidbit there. It's not necessarily a hard proven story, but that's about it. I guess the big thing of the convention, Cruz said, hey, vote your conscience, and didn't endorse Trump. And of course, Hillary has picked that up and said, vote your conscience and vote for Hillary. So, we knew she wouldn't let that lie very long before she picked up on what Cruz did there, and see if she can't snag up those Cruz voters. And Texas could be interesting because Texas was a Cruz state. not huge support necessarily for Trump in Texas. What if Hillary did pick up Texas? That would be interesting.
That would be bad.
Yeah. It'd be very surprising.
Am I not supposed to say that?
No, we can say anything here.
All right,
say
good.
whatever we want.
Good. No, that would be bad for Texas.
I think so too. But it'd be interesting though, because if you look at the breakdown of the map, you're like, okay, look, Austin's going to go to Hillary. Much of Houston will probably go to Hillary. Dallas County might actually go to Hillary. We know Tarrant County won't. We know much of the rest of the counties won't, but Dallas County could go. And then if Austin does, and just depends on maybe how much of Houston does. Trump could lose Texas. I mean, he's going to pick up rural, but
yeah, it's a scary.
San Antonio will probably go.
It's a scary election. This
San Antonio,
election for me.
Yeah, I mean, San Antonio is by and large pretty Democratic. It could go to Texas. Could go to Hillary. That would be interesting. Well, folks, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll come on back with us. We're going to actually talk some real estate, insurance, mortgage. So Inside Real Estate, folks, come on back in a few. Folks, it's Mike Kruizinga here with Inside Real Estate Sports Entertainment on 570 AM KLIF. Did you know that virtually all of us will experience a fall in the bathtub at some point in our life? Well, statistically, it's true, and as we get older, a fall in the bathtub can spell disaster, as we just can't recover the same as we did in our younger years. Don't let something as silly and preventable as a bathtub fall put an end to all your special plans you have lined up for your golden years. Invest in a Hydrojet walk-in bathtub. Made in the USA and with the lowest step in the industry, Hydrojet walk-in tubs has your best interest at heart. With no commission sales staff or huge warehouse overhead, they build and sell direct to you, saving you thousands of dollars over their competitors. Call Randy, my friend and owner of Hydrojet Walk-in Tubs at 855-980-8827 or go to hydrojetwalkintubs.com. You'll be able to speak with Randy directly, and make sure to mention you heard about it on the radio. And for you veterans out there, there's a grant available for you to cover the majority of the cost of a walk-in tub, making it darn near free. Call Randy at 855-980-8827 or go to hydrojetwalkintubs.com today.
This is Jason Rasmussen with Supreme Lending, and I'm the mortgage and financial expert for Real Estate Talk with Willie Lambright, heard right here on KLIF 570. If you're looking to buy a home or refinance the one you live in now, we're here to help. Supreme Lending is homegrown right here in Texas, and we're one of the top 20 mortgage bankers in America. We're well known for closing your loan in 14 to 21 days and for being able to figure out those challenging loan scenarios that other lenders run away from. With over 20 years of experience in the mortgage business, I'm ready to make your home ownership dreams a reality. At Supreme Lending, we offer FHA loans, VA loans for veterans, and conventional loans for buyers up to $2 million. More importantly, my experience means that you can count on me for a smooth, on-time closing. Call me today at 972-880-3349 for a free consultation on your mortgage scenario. That's 972-880-3349. You can also visit us on the web at willielambright.com. Just click on the Get Pre-Approved by Supreme Lending button on the homepage. Jason Rasmussen and Supreme Lending. Let us bring you home.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-467-1443. That's 1-800-467-1443. 1-800-467-1443. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop. You save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors not available in all states.
Far from the shores of home, two African-American U.S. Army privates fight for their lives on the battlefronts of World War II. The first Black War correspondents fight to cover the perspective of the black soldier. The novel A Private War weaves all this and more into an epic World War II era story of friendship, conflict, religion, and redemption. Get a copy of Private War, a novel by Perry Cockrell today, now available on Amazon.com. And tune in regularly to Inside Real Estate Sundays, 8 to 9 a.m. to hear Perry Cockrell, attorney at law, as he provides expert analysis of the latest and greatest in legal news. With decades of experience, the Rocky Martin Supreme Lending Team will work to close your home loan in 30 days or less. With access to the most competitive interest rates, the most financing options, and the most access to down payment assistance programs, the Rocky Martin Team won't be beating service to you for all your mortgage needs, including purchase and refinance. Trust RockyMartin.com and his team for their reliable and fast loan process. Go to RockyMartin.com or call 972-772-1866 today.
For housing lender, NMLS ID number 211731-6730, Horizon Road, Suite B, Heath, Texas 75032.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey, folks, we're back. Inside Real Estate, Mike Kruizinga, InsideRealEstateRadio.com, InsideRealEstateRadio.com. Hey, let's talk some insurance. Mr. Richard Tonica, how are we doing over there?
We're doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm good. By the way, website for Richard is richardtagency.com, richardtagency.com. Phone number 817-286-2002, 817-286-2002. For all of your insurance needs, I always recommend giving him a call and checking out everything with him because he's going to take care of you. He's going to save you money, get you better policies. If that's your sort of thing, saving money. Maybe it's not. So what's going on, Richard? What are we going to talk about today?
Well, we're going to talk about a normal home policy. What are the different coverages? What are some of the different endorsements that you can add? And then we'll talk about the deductibles. But giving you a good understanding of what you're purchasing and knowing how these numbers interrelate with one another.
Okay.
So when you're comparing one policy to another, you're looking at some companies may come out and say this is the dwelling policy, or this is the dwelling, this is coverage A, or your home structure. You never know exactly how each carrier is going to name it, but it's basically the frame of your house. So anytime you're talking about your dwelling, your separate, not your separate structures, your coverage A, or your structure, then that is the basic home. If you shook it, or the way your house was built before you ever moved in, one piece of item, that's your dwelling. Your separate structures are your pool. If you have some kind of playset in the back, you have any kind of decks, sheds, anything that isn't attached to your house that is part of your property and part of any kind of structure that's man-made. So your fence is included in that. Normally it's 10%. So if you have if your dwelling is valued at $100,000, then you're automatically going to get 10%. But let's say you've got a $300,000 house. You're going to get $30,000 in separate structures. That sounds great. Do you have a shed? If yes. And do you have a play set? Those are just about $1,000. Do you have a pool?
Mm-hmm.
Do you, like the houses that you were discussing last week, they had all these outside amenities included with each house. Would $30,000 be enough to replace that? That's what... Hello? Okay.
Yeah, we got you.
That's what you're looking at when we're discussing what do you have in your house, because we need to know that so that we can cover you sufficiently.
Yeah, and it's just as important for the separate structures as well.
Yes.
Yeah, because you can have a detached garage, detached shed, detached RV. One client had a 40-foot RV structure that was just specifically custom built for their RV. So all of those types of structures, not to mention, those big, galvanized metal, steel frame buildings that could be, a couple thousand square feet, on a larger rural property.
Exactly. And if you've got one of those exquisite kind of outdoor cooking areas,
mm-hmm.
and a bad hailstorm comes through and just demolishes that, that's quite a bit of money. Normally, it's a lot more than 10% of the house, and so we go in and add to that. It doesn't always have to. It just starts off 10% is the norm. It's what every carrier is going to put on the policy.
Mm-hmm.
But after that, we can increase it or decrease it if we need. If you don't have anything, all you have is a fence, and you want to decrease, it's not going to save you really much money at all to take that 10% down to 5 or 2%, but it's something we can do.
Right. Yeah, every little bit helps. And, really the big thing is if you've got more than that, you need to make sure that those things are taken care of. And what if, one of these structures is enclosing, very important items. That's another thing.
Because although I threw out the hell, what I'm really looking at is kind of a tornado or a fire or something like that, something that is going to really actually make you rebuild everything where it's a total loss, because that's really where it's going to come in. Then coverage C, also known as personal property. So if you took your house, shook it, and everything that falls out, personal property. Doesn't matter if it's in your garage, in your house, whatever it is, that's your personal property. For some people, you can look at it and it's anywhere from 40 up to 75%. So we can play with those numbers however we need to. On a $300,000 house, normally you're looking at 50%, $150,000. Some carriers start off at 40%, so $120,000 is what you're looking at for a personal property. But we take it as a case-by-case basis, like we were talking about for the separate structures. How much do you have in your house? Are the things that you have in your house nicer? And if they're too nice, or not too nice, but if they're above the coverage limit, not above the coverage limit, but the item limit, because every item is going to have a sub-limit on your personal property. And so are your rings worth more than $1,500? If they are, let's look at getting those appraised and getting those scheduled. Because the personal property is unscheduled personal property, which means if there's a theft, there has to be a police report. It's not covered if you lose it or something like that. It's some kind of lost coverage and theft. And so theft is a lost coverage. The thing where unscheduled, when you schedule something, if you set it down and leave it, and for whatever reason you just forget it and walk away, like your wedding ring. I'll go into a story in a second, but your wedding ring, you wash your hands, take it off, leave it in the bathroom, come back and it's gone. That's still going to be covered if it's been scheduled with your home policy.
Right.
And so all you have to do is just call your agent, let them know exactly what happens, and then you start through the claims process. But there was a woman that did that exact thing. She went into the bathroom, washed her hand, took off her wedding ring, and a guy found it. And I think we were talking about this, and he ended up going to jail because he lied about he said he didn't find it, but it was a $30,000 ring.
Wow.
It's amazing. But I mean, the higher limits on your jewelry, your guns, depending if you keep gold and silver in your house, scheduling that stuff actually gives you the best coverage that you can get, because if it's lost, then you're still covered.
And how much would something like that add to your policy, Richard?
It really depends on the dollar amount that you're covering, and it varies dramatically from one carrier to another. And so there are some carriers where it may be 60 or 16 cents on a dollar or something. It's not that expensive.
Okay.
But when you're looking at, I mean, like I tell people, when we're looking at deductibles and stuff like that, and you're looking at cost, if this is costing you $100 to cover your ring, that's $30,000. To me, that's a no-brainer, because if you lose it once,
right, exactly.
So
let's talk odds though too. Wedding rings are lost all the time.
Yes,
they're lost on vacations. When you go to the gym, all these types of things. If you haven't got your wedding rings scheduled, plus your other jewelry, I mean, what else happens regularly? Break-ins happen. What gets stolen? Jewelry.
Exactly.
Guns. If even just your average guns, which average basic few guns, probably covered, under just, you can get those covered because it's probably not going to be more than $1,500. But if you have nice firearms, maybe collectible firearms,
Yes,
you're going to need to schedule those. If you collect art, you've got some Remingtons, maybe you got Wylands or whatever the case may be, some nice artwork, get that covered. What's going to happen more than likely, versus something catastrophic, a break-in, water damage to potentially your artwork, those types of things. All these things need to be scheduled.
and that's really where we come in and we talk about, what are your assets? What are you really trying to protect with your home insurance?
Mm-hmm.
Because a home insurance is only going to protect the stuff that's in your home and personal property up to 10% of the value of your personal property subcategory when you're on vacation or when your kids are at school. They're still covered up to 10%. So you don't have to really get renter's insurance for your kids when they're at school, because your homeowner's policy takes care of that.
Okay. Well, lots and lots of good information. And just to kind of recap on the exterior structures, folks, look, let's just say you've got the average $300,000 house, here in the DFW area. Okay. Let's say you got a pool and you've got a really nice outdoor cooking area. Okay. Your pool, to redo your pool, you're probably looking at $50,000, even if the thing's seriously old. It's not that cheap anymore. So there's 50 G's right there. If you have an outdoor kitchen area, you might have spent 20 G's on that. So that's $70,000 on a $300,000 house. If they've just got the average, the basic with every policy, they only got $30,000. So these guys are going to be short $40,000.
Exactly.
Boom, there you go. We just made it real for you. And now you're understanding it.
We just got real, Mike.
We just got real, like boom. Hey, $40,000, and that's just on the average $300,000 house. You guys out there do the math. And if you're undercovered, which you probably are, you need to give Richard a call. Don't forget that number, 817-286-2002, RichardTAgency.com, and then the scheduling. Oh my God, people have to schedule their belongings. Absolutely. Because that is scary, especially the wedding rings. That can hit you big time.
Your wedding rings, scheduling those are a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, folks, we'll call Richard with all of your insurance needs. He's going to take care of you personally. 817-286-2002, RichardTAgency.com. You know what? We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come on back.
Hiring people is probably the worst part of my job. It's such a hassle, the searching, the sorting through resumes. Most people don't have the right experience.
We started using ZipRecruiter about 3 months ago. Right from the start, you could tell it was going to make hiring a lot easier. One click and my job was posted to 100+ job boards, all the top sites.
All of the candidates came to my dashboard, and it's easy to compare them. Thumbs up if I liked them, thumbs down if I didn't. No emails and attachments, printing up docs, phone calls, none of that.
And I couldn't believe the number of great applicants we got. I had the person we needed within 1 week. I don't know how we hired before ZipRecruiter.
Whether you're looking to fill one position or 20, find the best candidates with ZipRecruiter, where your job is just one click away from 100+ job sites. ZipRecruiter, the fastest way to hire. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/talkradio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/talkradio. ZipRecruiter.com/talkradio.
With over 3.5 million square feet and 5 DFW locations, Ideal Floors has you covered for all your flooring needs. Whether you're looking for carpet, tile, laminate, wood, or vinyl plank, Ideal Floors has you covered. And with their price match guarantee and their 100% satisfaction guarantee, they are the absolute best in DFW for all your flooring needs. Call Kevin Hamus, the owner of Ideal Floors, at 214-789-0422 or go to idealfloors.com for all your flooring needs.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey, folks, we are back. Hey, we were talking insurance talk with Richard Tonica over at the Richard Tonica Goosehead Insurance Agency right here in the DFW area. By the way, he covers all of Texas. He's located right here in the DFW area in Arlington. And you know what? The next show, we're going to have a stat for you because we were talking in the break about how many couples lose, one of the spouses loses their wedding ring on their honeymoon. And we know, we've heard stories about this all the time. We know it's got to be an astronomical number of people to do that. And they probably haven't gotten their stuff scheduled yet. And they need to do that before they go on the honeymoon, because how many diamond rings are sitting at the bottom of the ocean. And so Richard's going to get that information for us. Don't let that happen to you. Hey, folks, we're going to head on into some mortgage talk here. We got Terry Wagner here in studio. And where you can reach Terry, phone number direct 866-607-5667 for all of your mortgage and refinance and Texas cash out needs. How we doing, Terry?
I'm good. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
So also, if you're going to call and ask some questions to us, talk to Terry, the expert in all things mortgage, 888-787-KLIF. So you can give us a shout. Don't forget.
Yeah, give us a call. We want to answer all your questions for you. Okay, so today I just kind of wanted to bring up a program that we have as Supreme Lending, FHA Back to Work program. So this is a program that allows for some exceptions for maybe some bumps and bruises on your credit that you had, but you had these bumps and bruises specifically because of job loss or loss of income associated with a particular line of work. So you're working somewhere, you get laid off there, you go to work somewhere else, but there's a significant decrease in income. This program kind of covers that for you and allows for us to overlook some of those bumps and bruises in a shorter amount of time.
Okay.
So an economic event is what we're going to call it. So an economic event is when something happens beyond the borrower's control that results in a loss of employment, loss of income, combination of the two, and causes a reduction in your household income of 20% or more for a period of at least 6 months. So those are the kind of the guidelines that we set this program up on. Income by 20%, length of time by 6 months or less. 6 months or more.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So there's some kind of restrictions on what we have to do on this program, just kind of set it up. There is a 30-day waiting period after the borrower takes a housing counseling session that we have to wait before the loan application is done. So back from when we've talked before about what an actual loan application is, there's several pieces of the puzzle that we have to have to make it a full application. So that does not mean that you can't call me and say, hey, I want to talk to you about this program, and we can certainly gather the information. But one key component to a loan application is I have to have a property address, which means we have to have a contract. Mm-hmm. So if we don't have a contract, it's not a loan application. Okay. So call me with your questions. Hey, this is what happened, Terry, and we'll go through the whole scenario, and that's not actually a loan application. And we at that time can tell you, here's where you need to go for your housing counseling that you need to take. So you take that course, then we have to wait the 30-day wait period. Then we can have a contract on something. Okay. Very important.
Yes. And of course, there are going to be, with any program, there could be a few hoops to jump through.
Oh, yeah.
But well worth it, because it can get these folks back into a home quicker than they think.
Right, because one of the things that this does is, so these economic events that happen, okay? So you've lost your job and you were out of work for a while and you took a job and it was less income and you're trying to get things going again. But let's say you had collections and judgments that happened as a result of your loss of income. We just have to verify and document that these collections and judgments were the result of this economic event, and we can kind of overlook those. Foreclosure. Right now, if it's not on this particular program, foreclosure, you could have to wait 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years. One of the programs is a 7-year wait time period for a foreclosure. 12 months on this program. A minimum of 12 months has to lapse since the date of the foreclosure or deed in lieu of, and that's basically the same thing as a foreclosure.
Right.
Since the economic event. So that cuts your wait time in half.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah. Short sale, same thing, 12 months. Bankruptcy, same thing, 12 months. On a Chapter 7. And then Chapter 13 just has to be discharged for 12 months. So it's a good wait period as compared to some of these other programs that are out there and available.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we have to have a minimum of a 620 credit score. That's kind of one of the little hoops that we might have to jump through and get the credit score to a 620, because if you've had a foreclosure or a bankruptcy or any of these items, you may not have a 620. But there are ways that we can work to get the score where we need it to be.
Yeah, I mean, if you have had an economic event,
right,
then your score may have taken a bit of a dip. So
that's
we
correct.
might have to address that.
And you have to reestablish your credit a little bit.
Right.
It's making good decisions about your particular situation, and we can certainly help you with. I'm not a financial advisor by any far stretch, but we can certainly advise you on steps that you can take. So let's say this is happening to you right now. Call us so that we can set you up for the next 12 months.
Right.
So maybe in a year, it's something that can take place.
Yeah, absolutely. Or if it has just happened to you. And look, these economic events can really be a number of things. Maybe, like you say, you lost your job. That's obvious, number one. But maybe you took a decrease in pay.
Right.
Maybe you had to take a lateral move within the company due to corporate restructuring, whatever the case may be. Maybe you had a second job and you lost the second job.
Right.
And you're looking for that second job again. Maybe you got divorced. You were always on 2 incomes. Now you're down to 1 income. Maybe you had an injury, and so you're on disability. Right. Maybe one of your disability payments has gone away. Maybe you're a veteran, something has changed there for you. There's lots of different types of, economic events that can occur in your life. Maybe it's just a family member has gotten sick and medical bills.
Right.
That happens to a lot of people.
Right. And in our industry, when we're looking at credit, medical bills is not necessarily something we have to look at and consider when considering your application. Mm-hmm. It will affect your credit score if you've got medical bills on there that are recent. But when I am looking at collection accounts overall, if it's a medical collection, I don't really have to pay that much attention to it because it's not something that's going to have to be taken care of or paid.
Right.
So keep that in mind.
So if these things have happened to you recently or you're in the midst of this, absolutely give Terry a call. And don't think that you're shunned for life and have to go live in the corner.
Right.
We're trying to tell you folks that home ownership, it is the American dream and it is for everyone. And this is a great program for people that have gone through some trouble, and look, we can take care of you. Is that a caller for us, or can you check that? Keep going, Terry.
Okay. So really 12 months is our time limit that we're going to be looking at here for this program. So I would certainly encourage, again, if you're not there right now, give us a call. Let us go through the whole process and make sure that when you get to that point, your credit is reestablished, your credit score is where it needs to be. And we've got the debt ratios that we need because there's a very strict debt ratio. And debt ratio is really important, too, because we need to kind of let the underwriter know you're not overbuying. Mm-hmm. You've just gone through an economic event.
Right.
And we want to say to the underwriter, yes, we've got this under control. We know what we can afford and what we can't afford. And so the debt ratio is really important, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we can talk about all of that and possibly put a plan together where you're paying off some debt over the next few months, and that will help reestablish your credit as well as you pay some of those credit card debts down and things like that.
Absolutely. Folks, we're going to take a short break, then we're going to come on back, and then we're going to talk more mortgage talk with Terry. Folks, Inside Real Estate, come on back in a few. The Richard Tonica Insurance Agency in Arlington has nearly unlimited resources when it comes to getting you the best insurance rates and policies for home, auto, and more. As part of the Goosehead Insurance brand, you, the consumer, have the power of choice through the Richard Tonica Insurance Agency network. Richard can quote over 20 A-rated companies to find the best fit for you, the best policy at the best price. Call Richard today at 817-286-2002. It's the Richard Tonica Goosehead Insurance Agency, 817-286-2002. With decades of experience, the Rocky Martin Supreme Lending Team will work to close your home loan in 30 days or less. With access to the most competitive interest rates, the most financing options, and the most access to down payment assistance programs, the Rocky Martin Team won't be beating service to you for all your mortgage needs, including purchase and refinance. Trust RockyMartin.com and his team for their reliable and fast loan process. Go to RockyMartin.com or call 972-772-1866 today.
For housing lender, NMLS ID number 211731, 6730 Horizon Road, Suite B, Heath, Texas 75032.
Now back to Inside Real Estate. Here's Mike the Realtor.
Hey folks, welcome back to the house. Inside Real Estate, Mike Kruizinga. Time for more mortgage talk with Terry. Let's pick up where we left off. We're talking about the back to work program,
right?
And folks, if you've gone through an economic event, and like we've said, it could be any event that has impacted your bottom line in your household. It could be a medical event, a disability, loss of job, loss of a second job, whatever the case may be. A spouse lost their job, whatever the case may be. And you're trying to rebound, and you're thinking, oh man, we were almost there. We're almost about time to, to purchase a property, but then this happened. You're not going to, call the experts, call Terry. She's going to go over this program with you. Don't think the American dream is lost for you, and don't think that, oh man, we're just going to have to keep renting forever, because folks, the rents keep going higher, the sales prices keep going higher, but the interest rates are still good right now. Still a good time to get in there and buy before it gets too crazy. And this might be the thing for you to take advantage of with this back to work program.
Well, and I kind of wanted to compare this program to some of the others. So if you're not utilizing this program, so if you are just doing a straight FHA and you don't have this, we don't at least take a look at the guidelines and see if you fit in this back to work program. An FHA, if you have a foreclosure, it's 3 years after the foreclosure. On a conventional loan, it's 7 years after a foreclosure to do a conventional loan after you've had a foreclosure. VA is 2 years. Excuse me. And again, we're 12 months on this one.
Right.
On foreclosure that's included in a bankruptcy, 3 years on the FHA. Now that's 4 years on a conventional, still 2 years on a VA. Chapter 7 bankruptcy, 2 years on an FHA, 4 years on a conventional, and 2 years on a VA loan, 12 months on this program. So it's kind of a no-brainer to at least take a look to see if this is something that works for your situation.
Right.
Again, we have to have a 620 credit score. We have to have 12 months worth of 0 over 30 on your rental or your current mortgage if you're still in your house and you had a bankruptcy or something along those lines. We still have to have 12 months, no late payments on that. Mm-hmm. And then you have to have one borrower that has reestablished credit over the last 12 months. So if you had this economic event and you just kind of withdrew from the credit market altogether,
right, this
program's not going to work. We've got to get you back in the credit market. We've got to get you a couple of credit cards that you charge a little on, and then you pay it off, and you have to reestablish that credit. We have to get you back out there. So again, this is something that I would want someone to call me just after this event has happened so that we can set you up and put you on the right path to a year from now you're able to purchase a home.
Right. Yeah, and look, folks, life is tough enough, and you go through events that can be discouraging, and you get down, and then from a credit standpoint, you can have the tendency to, like you say, Terry, withdraw.
Right.
And you just don't, and sometimes you start to let some bills go, and you're almost contributing to your own demise there. Don't let the frustration get you down. Just deal with it. Focus on what you have to do. And talk to Terry. And look, Terry's going to give you some free advice,
right?
of how to get back on track.
Right. Well, and it's time to put your big boy pants on.
That's right.
And let's fix this.
That's right.
Because like you were saying, a lot of people do that, where if they have one thing that happens, they just kind of let everything go.
Right.
And that doesn't have to mean that you can't purchase a home ever again. There are situations that happen, and they happen to a lot of people. You're not the only one that it happens to.
They happen to everybody.
Yes.
And
life happens.
Exactly. Life happens every day. And, one thing happens to you and you're like, well, my credit's shot already. So, screw it, I'll just let the rest of these things go, let them slide, or maybe I'll pay them late.
Right.
Hey, one little bump is no big deal. That can rebound. Your credit score fluctuates just like everything else in your life.
Right.
It's an up and down, ebb and flow. And, look, folks, credit score isn't going away anytime soon. And you really should kind of pay attention to it all the time, not just when you're about to buy a house. But, look, this is a great program. If you had some events happen to you or are happening to you now, give Terry a call about it.
And I have a lot of customers. I kind of just want to bring this up too, because this happens a lot where, they get on this Credit Karma or some of these other credit providers, I guess is how we'll describe that, just over the internet, that are giving them credit scores. And those are not true credit scores. Those are the scoring models for those types of companies are so much more lax, I guess, than when you're having your credit ran to purchase a home or to purchase a car or to purchase any major life event, I guess.
Yeah, because they're not evaluating you as a risk.
No, they're not.
To
Their
give you
evaluation
credit.
is different
Right.
than when you're purchasing a home. So just know that when your Credit Karma or any of those other websites that provide you your credit score, when you get those credit scores, your true credit score is probably 20 to 30 points lower than that. But it doesn't mean, again, that it's not something that we can't fix and get a game plan together. It's always I always tell my customers, we may not be able to help you today, but that doesn't mean we can't help you.
Right.
We can help you move forward so that somewhere in the future you can purchase a home. It may be 12 months from now, but maybe it's only 2 months from now. We don't know until we pull that credit, because that is our starting line.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you have a 550 right now. Maybe you have no FICO at all, but doesn't mean in 6 months, 9 months, a year that you can't have the magic 640 or better.
That's right.
Or in some cases the 620 or better. So, like you say, put your big boy
That's right. Did you
pants
like that, Mike?
on. That I love it. Yeah, big boy pants on, and strap them up, and look, do you want to just be a renter for life?
Right. I took an application this week, and the person has rented their home for 23 years. I just had to stop for a minute. And why? Why would you rent, especially the same home? You just completely
paid
that guy's mortgage for him. The whole mortgage. Why would you do that? You have no equity. You have nothing.
Right.
That's crazy to me. And it doesn't make any financial sense at all.
No, it does not at all. And they could have had the home by now. So don't do that to yourself, folks. And just because, maybe you think, oh, my credit's shot, so you just, you keep going about life, and keep swimming in the same circle. Well,
right. Yeah, that doesn't work.
Doesn't make any
and
sense.
It's not going to make any sense to your financial future.
Well, a lot of that time, I mean, when you're purchasing a home, you're being able to purchase the same home that you'd be renting for less than what you're renting it for.
Absolutely. I do applications and mortgages like that all the time, Richard.
Yeah.
Where their mortgage payment is actually less than what they were paying for a rental home or even an apartment in some instances. And look, when you're renting, you still have to come up with
security deposit,
first month's rent,
pet
last
deposit.
month's rent, pet deposit. You still have to come up with all of that. So, and then we've talked about it 100 times on the show. There are programs. If you don't have the down payment, we have down payment assistance programs. So it just doesn't make, to me personally, it doesn't make any financial sense not to at least build equity into your future. Because that's what you're doing, is you're providing yourself with some equity for your future.
Yeah, absolutely. American Dream, folks, it's open to everybody. You just got to, pay attention and give us a call, and we'll take care of you. Folks, hey, Terry Wagner, she can take care of all your refinance, Texas cash out, and all your purchase needs. We've just been talking about the Back to Work program. Terry Wagner over at Supreme Lending. Hey, her phone number, 866-607-5667. Or just go to the website and connect over. Real quickly, I wanted to talk about this. Randy was going to be on the show today over at Hydrojet Walk-In Tubs, but he couldn't make it today. And I just want to reiterate what an important product he has for the folks out there. The Hydrojet Walk-In Tub, the lowest step in the industry. When you buy a walk-in tub, you want to be able to just walk into it. That's what it says, walk in. But you'd be surprised as I do my research on these products, and as I did that, when he was coming on to be a partner of the show, he truly does have the most exceptional product in his industry. Most of the walk-in tubs you have to actually step up and over and in, which doesn't make any sense. It's a walk-in tub. You should walk straight into it. It should be safe. If you're getting on up there in life, look, we're all going to experience falls in the bathroom. I have already myself. And so, I know eventually I'll need the walk-in tub at some point, but it's just a great product. You got it's like a spa in the bathroom. I love my hot tub out in the backyard. This is a hot tub inside your bathroom, and loosen up those muscles, your low back, you're out gardening in the backyard, you're playing tennis, you're doing whatever. Hydrotherapy is huge. It's a great product for that. And, basically people, when you start getting up there in age a little bit, those falls, can be, detrimental to, the golden years. And so don't let that happen. And by the way, at a price point, which is about half of all the competitors, I can't believe what they're ripping off senior citizens for this product. A lot of companies are charging, $20,000, $25,000 for these things. And Randy's charging $10,000 installed.
Wow.
And the other ones don't even include the installation, and some of the horror stories that he's told about, where they just don't service them, etc. It's really frustrating. But Randy's got such an amazing product. So, if you know anyone who has had a fall, or anyone that's maybe a veteran who needs hydrotherapy, folks, highly recommend checking out hydrojetwalkintubs.com, Randy's website, and you can connect with him because this allows you to just not worry about where most falls happen, and that's in the bathroom, especially, if you have parents, grandparents that are still on their own at home. Well, they want to stay at home, at their own place as long as they can. This product might help them stay longer in their home versus having to make some type of move. And you want to know that they're going to be safe. So hydrojetwalkintubs.com. Highly recommend talking to Randy and his wife, Sheila. Just a great product. If you're thinking about that at all, trust me, and at the price point, you're going to be super happy about it. Hey, folks, we've been talking real estate here on the Inside Real Estate Show, and we're here every Sunday, 8 to 9 a.m. Why don't you come on back next week? We'll see you then. Have a good one.
Folks, it's Mike Kruizinga here with Inside Real Estate Sports Entertainment on 570 AM KLIF. Did you know that virtually all of us will experience a fall in the bathtub at some point in our life? Well, statistically, it's true, and as we get older, a fall in the bathtub can spell disaster, as we just can't recover the same as we did in our younger years. Don't let something as silly and preventable as a bathtub fall put an end to all your special plans you have lined up for your golden years. Invest in a Hydrojet walk-in bathtub. Made in the USA and with the lowest step in the industry, Hydrojet walk-in tubs has your best interest at heart.